Hi there, Joka here, and today I'm sharing some cards with the Spellbinders June Small Die Kit. And I went with, some masculine cards, or this is as masculine as it gets for me. Okay, so this is the die set. You can create some cool landscapes with it and some other fun backgrounds. And these are the colors I'm going for, or this was my plan anyway. And you will see how this die works. I just made it easy for me and die cut this big piece from all the colors. I think there's 5 shapes in that die. You could just cut smaller papers and then die cut several at a time, but I just die cut them 5 times from 5 different papers. And then at the same time I'm also die cutting the rays. So what I wanted to mention earlier, I hope some of you are really happy with these dies, because I know a lot of people were complaining that there's not enough masculine products, and I think these work perfectly for those kind of cards. So I kind of chose a color scheme that is, well, in my mind it's retro, and it kind of perfectly represents the sunset colors for me, purples and oranges. So I chose 5 different purples. It was not easy, I will tell you this. I love purple. I have a lot of purple cardstock, but not all shades go together. So it was hard to find 5. And in fact, this one here in the middle, I only had a small scrap from that one. So eventually I only managed to make this one card with that. But okay. Anyway, I now glued it on, all these 5 pieces. I glued them on to a piece of cardstock just to hold them together, because I know that I want to add some foam tape to that. And now I'm trying to figure out how to do those rays, if I want to have some white space between them or not. And I decided to go with the white space. I really like that look. For the sun, first of all, I die cut it from yellow cardstock, obviously, and then I'm also adding some heavyweight cardstock behind it, 2 layers, I believe. And then I am now going to glue all the rays on the back of the sun. So this way the sun stands out a bit as well, and because I'm going to use foam tape on that big piece, I can have some dimension on that sun as well. All right, so I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colors here, corals, oranges, and some yellow as well. I think I die cut this from one more orange, but then in the end I didn't need it, because there's no more visible from that background. And then eventually, originally I wanted the sun to be in the middle, but then I turned it around a little bit, and I really like that look, so that it's sideways. This is why I had to cut one more yellow there at the left, because I wanted to turn it this way. And and now I'm going to assemble that card on an A2 card base. I'm just trimming down everything to the same size, and now I'm going to add my sun rays to the background. And for these, I'm using several glue in the tiny middle there I use some liquid glue, but on the bigger parts I just use my ATG. It's quicker for me. And then I'm trimming this the excess off, and I'm also checking if the end of those rays are glued down, and when they are not, I'm adding a little bit of liquid glue. I don't want anything to come up, or it then gets easily damaged. So yeah. All right, so now I'm adding this panel to my card base, or what will be my card base soon. And then this card is almost done, because once I'm adding this panel, this landscape piece, there's not going to be a lot more to add. I will be using a sentiment, like I said, a foiled sentiment from the Truly Yours collection. It's called Mini Sincere Sentiments, and they are my new favorites. Actually, they are really nice, encouraging sentiments, and it's all about missing people. It's perfect for this time of yeah. I mean, here in Germany we still are very behind with vaccines, so especially where I live. So it's still pandemic mode, so people are missing others, so these sentiments are perfect still. There's this small cactus dye as well in the dye set, and so I'm also adding these ones because I don't know, this kind of reminds me of some Mexican or Arizona landscape, I think, and the colors as well. I could be totally wrong because I've never actually been to any of those places. So yeah, forgive my ignorance if that's not true, but I don't know. It just, I feel like it's like that. Okay. So I'm using liquid glue for the cactus, and then I will be adding my sentiment on top with just some foam tape, I believe. And I trimmed off the right side of that sentiment because I wanted it to be flush with the right edge of that card. And then this first card is going to be ready. And then for my next card, oh, actually, sorry, I'm back here. It's not foam tape that I used on that one first. I also added some more cardstock to it, just so that it's nice and sturdy. Then for my next card, I'm also going with the same colors, but here I actually wanted to create a full background that you can see that it does not it did not work. So I'm trying to cover up that mistake. I mean, maybe it doesn't bother you. It did bother my eyes. So I'm using this wave dye from, I think it was the April large dye kit. And I just didn't want to use and I also couldn't have used the other part, the landscape part of this die set, because this card is not portrait orientation but landscape, and I did not want to cover up the purple rays there, so that's why I'm using these slim dies. And I added some cardstock, some heavyweight cardstock behind this purple paper, because these papers, this is from Basil, not so super thick and sturdy, and I want to add some foam tape to this as well. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure that it's firm. All right, so now I'm creating my card base, and I will add the I don't know, mountain, hill, whatever you want to call that piece there. And I will not be adding much more to this, not even cactus, I think, or cacti. Yeah, so I'm just cutting some foam tape here. And yeah, I don't know, what do you think? Is this color scheme okay for guys? I think it is. I hope it is. As it's probably not as masculine as the cards that I made with the large die kit, but I still think it's good. Okay, so these sentiments are still from the same set, the sincere mini sincere sentiments, and they are the longer ones, and I like that look that the sentiment is going all across the card. And yeah, I'm trying to see if I can add some cactus there, but then I didn't like that look. So plus, they were on my other card, so I wanted this to be just a little bit different. Okay, so then the second card is done. And for the third one, I had this idea that I wanted to create a full background. For my third and fourth card, I'm using a different color combination. Actually, originally, the colors that I chose were these pool color and purple, but they just looked so cold to me. I couldn't handle it, so I added this lime green or chartreuse. I don't know. I call it lime green kind of color, and that, for me at least, it makes it a bit more fun and warmer. Okay, so I knew going in that this is not gonna create a full circle. So as you can see, there is this tiny bit there. I decided that I would create that in a way that I can cover that up with a sentiment. This is why first I just added temporary adhesive, just to make sure that I will have that opening kind of straight where I want to add my sentiment. So I actually had to do this twice, because the first time I added my rays in a way that the top part didn't cover the whole background panel. I don't know why I didn't think of that, but yeah, so be careful with that. And in fact, here as well, you will see that I missed a teeny tiny corner. I will show here that one there, that teeny tiny piece, but I will just trim that down. It's really like a millimeter or so. Yeah, so now I just trim off all of it, and now you will see the whole pattern much better. Because when you see the whole circle, then you don't see the pattern so well. So I did not, I wanted my the middle of this whole thing, I did not want it to be the middle of the card. I wanted it to be kind of off center. And now I decided to trim off even more, because I wanted some more white in the background. So I will layer this on top of a white cardstock. And then I use the sun as like a white spot in the middle to cover up, where this whole sunburst pattern starts. And then I will just add the sentiment on top of that to cover that opening. Of course, you could add some like a stamped sentiment in that circle in the middle, or, as I remember, the clear stamp set this month has sentiments that are for that circle. I could be wrong, but I think I saw some card samples with that. And yeah, but then there's just the issue that nothing is covering that opening. But probably you could, if you're good at something like that, then you can cover that up with the same color that's next to it. I just know myself, I cannot measure. Um, so I would not be able to cover that properly for sure. All right, so then moving on to my last card. I love building patterns, like pattern paper. I love creating my own from smaller dies or smaller stems. And so I die cut this cactus a million times from the same colors. Um, Actually, I only use 6 of the colors, I think. 1, 2, 3, yeah, 6 of them. And then from each color, I also have 6 cactus. And I just add rows of them, but not quite straight. I don't like straight things for some reason. So I'm placing them in a way that they are a bit more random, you know, so it's not in a straight line, so to say. And you will see that some of them will hang off the edge, and once I trim those off, the other side that I trimmed off, I can glue onto the other side, so onto the left side, if that makes any sense. I hope it does, but you will see that in a second. And then as it turns out, I didn't even need to do this, because in the end I'm going to trim off the edges anyway, because I changed my mind halfway through and created a different background for this. It was too much white for me. I don't know why I cannot handle so much white space, but yeah. So that's my reasoning behind it. But you will see, first I will still build that background here. So this is what I meant. I trimmed off these from the right side, and now I'm just gluing parts of it back to the left. And then, yeah, this is what I decided to do. I die cut from the same color cardstock. I die cut these strips. These strips are in the large die kit. And now I'm going to build this background, and I'm going the same or in the same order as the cactus pattern is. So I'm sure, you know, it's not going to be the same color cactus on the same color strip, but that was the idea. Now I'm going to trim these off, and so that some of this is actually visible, I have to trim off some of the cactus part here. You see, I just want a teeny, maybe, I don't even know if it's a 1/4 inch, probably even smaller, that's gonna peek through there. But now that I cut this off, it's visible that I didn't really need to glue those cacti on the sides. But you know, I'm not big on planning, so these things happen. Okay, now I'm creating my card base. I just added this panel onto a heavyweight cardstock, and then I do the same thing as always. Yeah, to create my card base. And then I am going to use some foam sheet here, which I think I used earlier in this video, but I forgot to mention it. I think this is from Crafter's Companion, and this is quite thick, so it's thicker than the Scotch roll that I'm normally using. But I really love that it's so firm, you know, when it's a whole sheet that you are using, a whole panel, let's say. Okay, and then there's my sentiment on it, and then all cards are done. I hope you like these ideas. Maybe the color combo inspires you, or maybe the pattern. I don't know. I hope you take away something from this video. All right, so thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.